Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for both the collective and the individual life path numbers for March 2022. As with all of these monthly videos, it's very important that you listen to the part for the collective, because we are each a part of the collective. And that energy is what's really going to be potent during this time. And so it ties in with your individual life path number. That's why I don't put timestamps. This, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. I have also just recently started offering one-to-one, face-to-face over Zoom life path coaching with numerology. If this is something that you're interested in, this is an opportunity for a 1-hour session where we dive in deeply into your numerology chart to discuss anything you want to discuss that you're currently facing or that may be coming up for the future for you. If that's something that you're interested in, just book some time with me. I would absolutely love to meet you face-to-face and to work with you in that way. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the energies for March. So March ushers in the universal cycle of the 9 energy. During this cycle, we can find that we're able to think more abstractly and not quite so rigidly when it comes to our belief systems and how we move through the world. 9 energy is that of the humanitarian. It's an energy that honors self while also bringing in service towards others. So by opening our minds and our hearts, we can begin to see things from a broader perspective where greater, more elevated solutions lie. Aligned 9 energy sets out to bring people together with an emphasis on equality and justice for all. It's an energy of no one being left behind, because if someone is struggling, ultimately we're all struggling in some way. So where we can find ways to coexist while doing no harm, then we're able to be a part of the greater circle. If one is being pushed out from that circle, it creates a gap that in one way or another, we all end up feeling, especially energetically. So 9 energetic cycles help us to find ways to do our individual part for the greater good, for the collective, and to bridge the gap, which I think now more than ever, we could use this energy. So it's beautiful energy, especially for March, especially for this time in history. So definitely work with it the best that you can throughout the month and always, but it's very potent this month. This is also a completion cycle, so it can indicate attainment, things coming to fruition from past efforts, such as rewards, earnings, return of investments. This is going to be a situation where you've put in the effort previously and now you're seeing those things again coming to fruition or coming to closure. And it can be closure that's abrupt, or it can be closure that you're just kind of tying up that bow really nicely and moving on to the next thing. It can also indicate things falling away so that new seeds can begin to grow, creating a greater foundation for your future cycles. Similar to when we sort of lose our baby teeth as children so that our adult teeth can come in, shedding what no longer works or no longer supports us for something that does. Though this isn't the best energy for sort of starting anything big or new, it's more of a time for setting the intentions and making the preparations for this cycle to begin, right? So this cycle can feel somewhat busier than normal with a lot of added responsibilities being added to your plate. You can see a tremendous amount of inspirations and ideas, psychic and intuitive downloads coming in for you now. Pay extra attention to your dreams at this time and any kind of, again, visions that you have, ideas, inspirations. Now, this isn't necessarily, like I said, this isn't the cycle where we would necessarily take action on those inspirations or those big ideas. Although, we have to go with what comes up for us. So if life dictates that you need to take action, then take action. Don't let this sort of prevent you from doing that. But this isn't the most supportive energy for big ideas taking root when we take action on them just yet. This is the time for the sort of the incubation period, the ideas coming in, sort of exploration of those ideas and those inspirations, and maybe planning and deciding how we want to take action on these ideas. And then in the months that follow, then taking those big risks, those big inspired action, right? So this is going to be a time again to really sink into the more ethereal, sink into the inspirations, the ideas, the dreams. The dreams are going to be coming in very vividly, very strongly for those of you that are especially sensitive to that. You could notice that, again, your intuitive powers are even stronger during this time. You could notice that, again, your psychic powers are much more profound at this time, much more vivid. So pay attention to that. A lot of times that can hold messages. So we just need to be open to it, take note of it, and then revisit it down the road if we need to. So this is not going to be a cycle where self-serving or overly self-indulgent endeavors be supported. Instead, broad compassion, kindness, understanding, and more evolved actions are the ones that will gain the most traction. Friendships and relationships of all kinds can prosper and grow during this time, especially those that hold a similar vision for the greater good. So pay attention to who enters your sphere at this time, your reality, your experience, or who re-enters your life now. They could play a key role in the journey ahead. So be open to who you meet and the messages that they hold and the wisdom that they've come to share. This could be very important for your journey forward. Be mindful not to sort of cling to or get overly attached to experiences, people, or emotions that have run their course and that need to be released. Replaying events or stories in your head only to beat yourself up with them aren't allowing you to move forward into a sort of greener pastures, right? We may need to sort of shovel the manure every now and then, but we certainly don't need to sit in it. So extract the wisdom, release the person, place, or thing with an open heart and with gratitude for their contribution, and move along. There is much more adventure to be had beyond the self-created gates that we often create for ourselves, right? Release that stagnant energy and look forward to the future with joy and high expectation for what awaits you around the next corner, for what you'll create from these big ideas, these big dreams, these big inspirations that could be coming in for you during this cycle. This is incredibly beautiful, ethereal, creative energy, and just a time again for exploration on the softer side of things. So definitely embrace it to the best of your ability. Again, the energy can be present. It's always what we choose to do with it that makes the difference. Okay, on to the life path number. Life path number 7. So I pulled an animal spirit card for you all for the month of March, and you got koala spirit. And so the energy that sort of came in through koala is this energy of like mastering mindfulness, being really aware of, again, your thoughts and those thoughts that you choose to believe about yourself, about others, and just becoming the observer. Become your own calming presence and take everything in before you take action. So if you think about a koala bear, they feed on eucalyptus, which has sort of like a drugging effect. Like it just sort of calms them down and they sleep majority of the time. But they're just very slow, methodical, moving creatures. And they have sort of a calming presence about them. And so the energy of koala is just asking you, before you get all hyped up about something or, impulsive when it comes to act on something or to make a rash decision, become your own calming presence. Take everything in before taking action. So again, like just really, if you can, right? Sometimes some things in life we have to take immediate action. We just do. But there are many things in life where we can become the observer, take it all in, really feel into what it is that we want to do, how it is that we want to respond, how it is that we want to interact, or whatever the case may be. And then we can take the appropriate action. So we're not moving from a space of charged emotion. We're moving from a place of inner knowing. There's a difference. And typically the sort of consequences, I guess, of what you would see from taking an impulsive action from a hypercharged emotion as opposed to an inner knowing or inner wisdom, those sort of what comes in for you, the situations, the experiences are going to be different based on that, right? So again, because it's energy. So anywhere, especially this month, where you can master that mindfulness and become your own calming presence and then really become the observer before you take action, I think you're going to be really pleased with the outcome, with what transpires because of that more calming presence and the more, I guess, calculated action, or let's say inspired action. So also, I think it's really important to mention with koala that if you are feeling underestimated, right, this could be coming in to just remind you that, to know your own truth, to know who you are and how to show up to a situation without feeling like you have to prove yourself. Everybody is going to have a different opinion of who you are and what you do and like what you bring to the table and all of these things. And you have no control over that. But if you're feeling underestimated, maybe there's a conversation that needs to be had with people within your sphere to help them to better understand who you are. That's not to say that they're going to, but you also have to take responsibility for making sure that you're seen and heard and understood. Again, you don't have control over the other person, but you do have a control over how you communicate what you need, who you are, what your expectations are, what you need to thrive, all of those things. If you're not communicating that, the other person has no way of knowing what you need, right? Or how you want to be seen or how you need to be heard in order to thrive. That's not to say that they'll be able to meet you there, but you have responsibility to make sure that you're doing your part if you want others to be able to see you the way that you are or understand you or, respect you and all those things to the level of, again, who you are. So with koalas, we see them as these like little teddy bears who are so sweet and docile, but they can become very aggressive very quickly, especially if they're protecting their young or their territory. So you don't ever want to underestimate wildlife, especially koalas. But it's also this thing of, for humans, it's like when we feel like we're being underestimated, sometimes we add even more energy to the process of proving ourselves. But we don't have anyone or anything to prove, right? We don't have to prove ourselves to anyone. We just need to make sure that we're showing up in a way that's authentic and true for ourselves and that we're communicating what we need. That's the biggest breakdown, is when we just expect or assume that others are going to know, right? So koala spirit is very, his energy is very potent this month for you all. And I think a lot of it is going to come down to, again, being mindful and not being too impulsive when it comes to reactions or how you respond to something, but really sitting back and observing. And again, communication. So when I look at the month ahead for you all, we start the month off with very feminine, divine feminine energy of stillness, intuition, following your intuition, really going within to be really reflective, contemplative, to really think about, to really feel into your next steps and what it is that you want, what direction you want to move into, how you feel about your current situation, how you feel about your current reality, not about like how it could be, but how it is in this moment. Are you happy with it? Are you happy with how you're showing up to relationships? Are you happy with the relationships that you're attracting to you? Are you happy with your current job, your what you do in purpose, all of these things? I think the beginning of the month is really going to be an opportunity for you to take a closer look at all that, especially in a 9 universal cycle, to see where it is that maybe you're clinging to something that has passed its expiration date and needs to be released, or maybe it's where something that you need to dive a little bit more deeply into. Maybe there's a side of yourself that you're not fully honoring that you need to honor. it could be a whole myriad of things, right? But there's definitely something here about solitude, taking time for rest, taking time for, again, more reflective time to really feel into the experience, right? Like not just the surface layer of the known, like the mind, the logic, but really feeling into your current experience and seeing what comes up for you as you do that exploration, because things may come up where you can say, I really enjoy this part of my life. I enjoy these people, whatever, and I want more of this. Or you could feel into it and be like, I don't like how I feel in this situation. I don't feel how I feel. I don't like how I feel in this interaction or whatever. And how can I make adjustments? I think there's going to be a really strong, potent energy for that at the beginning of the month. Mid-month, there's this energy coming in for you all that's really strongly focused around home, family, relationships, partnerships, anything to do with like the home. Children could be coming in. But what's interesting here is there's also this sort of like polarizing energy coming in alongside this like family environment, like relationships, all that stuff. That feels like there's really the message is, where is it within your relationships, your home life, your partnerships? Are you sort of keeping yourself or stopping yourself from being truly happy? Like truly, where is it that you're restricting yourself in showing up in a way that would allow you to really step into whatever this is and like really feel it and immerse yourself in it, whatever it is. But there's definitely something here around like the happiness, the fulfillment, the joy is right here. It's here right now. But there's something around you holding yourself back, you restricting yourself, you creating some kind of a barrier or a wall that's keeping you from fully stepping into whatever this is or fully acknowledging whatever this is. There's something here around self-imposed restrictions when it comes to your own happiness and your home life. Don't know what that is, but definitely there's a piece here. There's something maybe where you're like, I want this, but I could never have it, or in order to have this, I have to really allow other people to fully see me, and I would feel vulnerable then, and I'm not going to do that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you can see it. You can see the potential of like what this could be, but you're holding yourself back and you're restricting yourself. I don't know, that's coming in really, really strongly. So if there's anywhere where you are denying yourself your own happiness, your own joy and fulfillment because of fear or some belief system that you're to keep telling yourself that's not real, there's going to be an opportunity for you to take a closer look at that, I think, mid-month, and to make some adjustments if you choose to. There's also something here around if you're currently like in a relationship, a friendship, a business deal, anything that feels really restrictive, but it feels really like around home life, relationships, partnerships, that sort of thing, children, whatever. If there's anything that feels really restrictive or like especially with relationships, if it feels like it's run its course, but you're staying in it because it's comfortable, I think you may see that really come to a head now where it needs to be released, whether you release it or the universe steps in with divine intervention and cuts that cord. There's just something here around something needing to fall away that has felt really, really uncomfortable, but you've been staying in it because, again, of like fear of the unknown type thing. So you stay with what's known. Just something coming in really strongly around that. So just pay attention to whatever shows up for you this month when it comes, especially mid-month, around relationships, how you show up to relationships, how you view relationships, including your relationship to yourself, right? Like if you're someone who's single, but you want to meet somebody, but then every opportunity you have to meet somebody, you, again, sort of self-sabotage yourself in that scenario so that it couldn't possibly work out. this is going to be an opportunity to take a closer look at that and see why you're doing that. Then we move into the end of the month, and there's something here where you have been really working hard. You've been maybe struggling with something for a very long time. This is something that has been ongoing for quite a while, it feels like. There's something around longevity here. Something that you've really been dedicating yourself to pursuing, working on. This felt incredibly difficult. It doesn't have to be like it was a long period of time, but it definitely feels that way. It feels like something that you've been constantly showing up to, putting your energy towards, and it's been very difficult. I feel like you're going to find some closure to that now, some justice being served in that situation, whatever that is, to where it's the load is going to feel lightened. That burden is going to be lifted. And so definitely some form of justice coming in end of the month for, again, a project, a relationship, whatever it is that's just felt incredibly challenging. I feel like you're going to find closure with that at the end of the month. And it doesn't have to be dramatic or like this big ordeal. Again, it can be the closure of like that nice bow being tied and moving on to the next thing. So I definitely feel like you'll find some resolution at the end of the month when it comes to something that's been very challenging for you. So just keep an open mind and an open heart when it comes to that. And I think you'll be pleased with the outcome of it. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you all so much for listening. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.